Okay. Hello, person who's watching. This is where we had our rabbit caving session. By the way, person watching, in case you are confused as to what I'm doing, I'm looking for a particular nether portal at which a kind of build competition is being held on the server, and we are allowed to pick a plot and start building. But I do not know whereabouts it is exactly, so I'm just looking around. Apparently a portal was built to it, so I just gotta go through all the odd looking portals. Ah, come on, jump up. There we go. Is there anything over here? I'm gonna check my mic. Yeah, I'm unmuted. I just wanted to make sure my beautiful voice was coming through. Nope, nothing this way. I will find it eventually. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Beacon effect. I like beacon effects. They're very, 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 very coolio. There's bedrock up there. I wonder where this leads. This is also partially exploring for me, because This is a part of the nether I've not seen. That's an empty room. Okay, you know what, person who's watching? Give me just a moment. I'm going to look at something. Because we actually, on a kind of chat, talked about it. Negative 480, negative 440. Okay. So in the nether, I'm definitely in the wrong place. Because negative 480, negative 440 is, what's that? It's half of 120, 110. Negative-wise. So that's negative 60, negative 55. Okay, so that's where I need to go. In the nether. Negative 60, negative 55. Ooh, my food's low. Okay, so wrong direction that way. And then so it should be around this direction. However, I know where that portal leads and it's not there. It's possible it's along the yellow line. And then that's a skeleton spawner. Negative 60. So I'm gonna guess it could be a little bit further. Yep, build competition. Ooh, this is a pretty looking tunnel. I forget who did this. Okay, and give me just a moment, YouTube viewer. YouTube just gave me a... Okay. Somebody had responded to something. Okay, so we're allowed to mark out a 15 by 15 area. And my idea for a build project is actually something I've been wanting to do in preparation for 1.9. I just have to find what Mr. Bossman was talking about. So, here are all these signs here. Monkey's Plot. Apparently there's a cave somewhere here. Hey, ooh, there's experience. Person watching us, say something if you want to. Just to kind of show that you're alive or something. There's supposed to be a cave around here, and that you can hear me. I want to make sure my sound's coming through. Here's a cave. These are not my chests. Hold on a second. Okay, there we go. So hopefully you'll get that message. I know that the chat and everything is a little bit delayed. Okay. There we go. That way I can get up, because I don't think... Nope. Nobody put a beacon here. Okay, there it is. You know what? Let me put some cobblestone here. Because that is what I shall call it. Seriously? You're not going to take the bread? Bread's wonderful. Bread's good for providing carbohydrates. So, I've got a little something to do. YouTube will not tell me who you are, mysterious person. Okay, so I've got 15 by 15 to lay claim to. This is negative 522, so negative 522, negative 469. Okay, so let me climb up, please, just a bit. Let me climb up and go mark out a 15 by 15 area centered around that point. Up there, where it's dark and dreary and not lit up very well. I wonder what is over here. Might as well do a little bit of caving, because you never know if you may find one of these things. Whatchamacallums. Not a column. Do I have... I don't have my water bucket with me. Why don't I have a water bucket with me? I always have a water bucket with me. Not always. Apparently I do not have a water bucket with me right now. But you know what? Let's jump down here because we can. Because we're cool like that. Yay! Ooh, this goes down even further. And we are getting sidetracked. But hey, if we find something cool, that sidetracking turned out very, very beneficial for us. Okay. So I suppose, person watching, you're not alive. Or at least not capable of responding. That's quite alright. I don't mind talking to silence. I think. I talk to myself all the time, so it's not that different. Okay. Hello, water. You shall be annoying in the future. Get up and claim my torch and put it there because... reasons. Well, nothing of interest there. Okay. Oh, you are alive. There we go. Hi. Beep. Yeah, so when I was in high school, my brother and his friend wanted to do an April Fool's prank on the teacher and have a recording play of a beeping sound like you have at the hospital whenever you're hooked up to it. Beep, 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 and then just randomly in the class just have that recording be set to go beep, and as soon as that happens, whoever was doing that would just fall over, just like go stiff and fall over. And they never did that, but I always thought it would be fun to do. I never did it either, and now I regret it. So, come April Fools, I may end up doing that. Hello, Mr. Zombie. You're going the wrong way, I'm over here. Yeah, zombies are afraid of me in this game. Let me go this way instead. Because there we go down. That's not actually why, because I didn't see that in time, but I will claim that. So how are you doing, Mr. Slanelight? I don't know where you are, but where I am, it's late at night. But hey, maybe that's why you're called Slanelight. That was pretty bad. Sorry about that, Chief. Just perusing for Minecraft videos, just at random or something? Or have you been paying attention to the CraftTheory server recently? Okay. I did not bring my Silk Touch. Nor did I bring my Fortune. I just have a regular super efficiency pickaxe. So yeah, you're just browsing for stuff? Okay. I did not prepare to come caving, so what I'm going to have to do is actually work on the project I came out here to work on, and then when I have to go back to get supplies, because I will need supplies, redstone supplies at the very least, I will come back with some caving stuff It's 12:33, so I'm assuming you're talking about PM versus AM. I mean AM versus PM. It's the other way around. So yeah, by the way, if you hadn't noticed, there's a bit of a delay in between you seeing the video and stuff. Browsing, is that a public server? No, it's not a public server. I mean browsing streams on the tubes, and happen to pay attention to streams involving the CraftTheory server, which is a private server, and I place torches on the left-hand side for a reason. Now I can make use of this bread. You know, just like you're watching Minecraft videos and you... Did I already eat that? Both pieces of bread? Yeah, anyway. So, let me continue this. What I was originally trying... Oh, nope, I need to go over here. What I was originally trying to do. I lost my train of thought. That's alright, I didn't have a ticket for it anyway. What was I going to do to get up here? There we go. Okay, so... Hello, Mr. Creeper. So I gotta clear this area out. Okay, there we go. I like watching people with a few views because it's more interactive. Ah, so you like watching people that don't have many people watching them, so they talk to you directly. That's not a bad idea. You get to watch an interactive video, and I get to pretend I'm not insane and actually talk to a live person versus not a live person. Win-win. It's becoming daytime. Okie dokie. So, what were those coordinates? Negative 522, negative 469. Negative 469 is this way. Negative 522 is... This is dangerous, by the way. I think. Okay, so here the center is, and I am claiming 15 by 15, which means 7 on either side, not including the middle, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Are you sure you're not insane? I might be illusions on a screen. I never said I wasn't insane. I just... Well, maybe I did say I wasn't insane. I mean to say that this is not a manifestation of the insanity if you are a real person, but that's not saying that I'm not insane. 5, 6, 7. Okay, so this is a 15 by 15 area. And that, I'm assuming, includes the border, so... Do. Okie dokie. Almost done with my claim of this little plot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5. This is so hard to do at this height. 1, 2. I don't know why I made it this tall, but I did. Oh, hello, playful kitty. So long as you're not playful like my kitty, it's not very fun at times. Okay, so I have 2 imaginary friends. Great. So, it is 15 by 15. Now I need to go do the same thing for the spawner down here to claim out that area and then like dig straight down from above, which I could actually do from above. Wow. Oops. Okie dokie. So, but I don't know how far to dig down. I can figure that out by doing this. That's the wrong tool, Altainia. Okay. So this should not be dangerous. I got a torch. You know what? Let me place my torch. No, I want you to go there. I want you to go at 9. There we go. I'm being very careful with the pick, though, because I do not want to break the spawner, which is underneath here. Ouch. Okie dokie, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, I knew what was underneath it, so it wasn't that dangerous. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that all lines up. That's good. Let me knock out this corner here. So this should be a 15 by 15 area. And now let me knock out this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got feather falling. So I'm fine. Ish. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let me just put something there for the time being. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ooh, that was perfect amount of andesite. Ah, why do you have to be there, Torch? So, a feature request for Minecraft is that you can place default places for certain items to be, and if they can't be there because there's something else taking up the spot, then they just act like regular things. Because I like my torches on the 9th slot, because my sword's always in the 1st slot, or if I'm in a safe place doing a lot of digging, I can move my pickaxe to that slot, and then it's just a simple scroll of the mouse wheel to change it. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hello, water. You are actually going to have to go. Sorry. Okay. Tip, get a certain amount of blocks in your hotbar, and when you use them all, you will know that you have traveled the amount of items that were on your hotbar. So I am the Count from Sesame Street. Not really, but I like counting, actually. I like doing math things in my head. And while that is a pro tip that I have never thought of before, nor heard for that matter, I will probably just be counting, because I count even when I'm not realizing it. But that is a very genius tip. Did you come up with it, or did you hear it from somebody else? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Actually, if I were to do that tip, I might just keep track of how many items I have and just do the math and figure out how many items I should have left. Actually, I do think I've done that before for like really, really big projects. Okay. So, I've cleared out this area to a point. Now I have to build up the walls, but for that I need some materials. And I also need to dig down to a point. You don't know where you learned it, so it's like one of those things. that you learned so long ago. It's just a mystery after that. Okay, so now that I have officially, or rather unofficially because there is no sign here, laid claim to a piece of land, I'll just go ahead and clear that out of the way. I have to go get some actual supplies for this build, which includes breeding, silk touch pick, and also breeding. Okay, so I have to be facing the other direction if I want to get out of there. Look to the left, look to the right, nobody's coming, go this way. Nobody's online besides myself right now. And the pigmen are online. They're always online whenever you're in the nether, and sometimes when you're not. So, if you've never seen the CraftTheory server, we have another hub in which we have 4 different lines going away from the main central location, and they're colored. So you can just tell somebody you're on the red line, or you're on the blue line, or you're on the yellow line, or you're on the green line. They are the 3 primary colors of the... You know what, I have my F3 screen on. Sorry about that if that bugs you. I love my F3 screen on. It's very detailed for me, and it doesn't really take up that much real estate. Anyway, so it's like the 3 primary colors of paint and the 3 primary colors of light anded together. If you are any tips for making spheres in Minecraft like the glass one, you passed. So I said that I love math, and when I do spheres, I actually do the calculations. So circles are relatively easy. They are, well, I imagine you would know the circumference of a circle is 2 pi r. So if you wanted to make a circle, you know that the circumference is going to be a certain amount of blocks. You pick where your center is and you go out a certain radius from that. The trick is knowing how much to go from there. So, and I apologize, here's a bit of a math lesson, but let's say I have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then here's like a triangle. I'm going to make this like this just because. So this is your triangle, and you're like, okay, I want to figure out, you wanted to figure out that this is how far you have to go each time. There's actually a little bit of math you can do. You ever heard of SOHCAHTOA? Sine, cosine, and tangent? So SOHCAHTOA is S for sine. It's SOHCAHTOA. So the S is for sine, and then it's opposite over hypotenuse. The C is for cosine, that's adjacent over hypotenuse, and the T is for tangent, and that's opposite over adjacent. So, what that says is, if you know the opposite side, you can figure out the hypotenuse using sine. If you know the hypotenuse, you can figure out the opposite side using sine. If you know the hypotenuse, you can figure out the adjacent and vice versa using cosine, and opposite can get you adjacent, and adjacent can get you opposite using tangent. So, let's say you know this, it's getting nighttime, this is going to be dangerous to do, but let's just say you happen to know the radius, which you should because you want to know how you want to make your circle so big. Then that is usually you're going to be your adjacent, because you are doing things from, let me get over here for visual reference, you are doing things from this angle right here, this angle that just comes over right here, that angle right there. That measures the angle here, which by the way is 90 degrees. And because it's a fixed 90 degrees, using SOHCAHTOA is like a shortcut. It's a mathematical shortcut. There's actually mathematical reasons why, and you can figure out using different angles. But anyway, so if you know this radius, that is your adjacent, then you can use tangent to figure out the opposite. No, hold on. Sorry about this. So this is the longest side, this is hypotenuse. and you want to figure out this right here. How far to go out this way. You know this because you're saying if I go 1, if I go 2, if I go 3, and hold on, if you love your F3 screen, go to the escape screen, go to options, go into video settings, then click other, then click show FPS on. Oops, that was something metal on my desk. Options, video settings. Yeah, I think that assumes that I'm using Optifine, which I am not using because I am not using it, and that is a perfectly valid reason. Yeah, actually, I do have Optifine. I could have been using it, I suppose. I would have got the smooth glass. That's a Pokeball, by the way. That's a circle. Where was I? No. That's all right. That's all right. Don't I have to apologize for that. Actually, I think my FPS is on there. I have it capped to 30 frames a second. Just so I would get some sort of consistency. I have it capped with my encoder. So, I mean, I already got the FPS being shown on that. Okay, so where was I? You want to know what this point is because you want to know how far it is this way and how far it is this way. You already know how far up it needs to go, you just need to know how far across it goes. So I believe that is tangent of the adjacent side will give you the opposite. I believe this is the adjacent side. And then this would be, yeah, but it will always show FPS and some other stuff on the top corner of your screen. No. I actually like knowing my location because... Well, actually, there's no reason I like to know my location. I don't often die, so I don't have to keep track of my location. No, I think the main reason why I like the F3 screen is just because it makes me feel super cool techie. Really? And it's like, that's cool that I feel super cool techie. I think that's why I like doing that. Yeah, but anyway, you plug in the adjacent tangent is opposite divided by adjacent. So you plug in tangent of 90 degrees, and then you multiply by adjacent. That'll give you... You can still use F3. I know, but some people don't like it. It like turns them off for some reason. It just always shows the FPS. Yeah, I figured that would be the option that would do that, but like I said, I like feeling super cool techie. Anyway, so if you multiply the adjacent and you divide by the opposite, you will get... Oops. You will get... How far up this is? No, that's tangent. Sine tells you the opposite over the hypotenuse. It is... It's almost midnight where I am, so hold on a second. You know what? I'm going to give up on that. But you can use the powers of sine, cosine, and tangent to figure out... Those tell you what the sides of a triangle are supposed to be, and you can use that to figure out every step of the way. And that's how I did a lot of circles. That's not how I did that circle, so I'm sorry I'm cheating whenever I do that. I used an online site for that. Now, as far as making it a sphere, whatever way you go to actually make your circle, all you have to do is create a circle and figure out the cross-section of the circle. So the circle in the other direction, like imagine a belt going out like that and coming back in that way. So imagine the circle were rotated so that it was like a circle and a circle, like a disc and a disc. And then use that to shrink your circle. So if you have a circle of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3. Wow, I have enough cobblestone for that. If you have a circle like that, and I don't know if this is an actual perfect circle, and you just imagine you have another circle going like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm not going to complete that circle. But you get the idea. If you had a circle like going like that, which would be just the exact same circle, just rotated, or you can install World Edit. It has been a long time since I messed with World Edit, actually. Then all you have to do is run your calculation for the circle, assuming a radius of however much this is. It's 5, 11, 13, 15, 17, so that's a radius of 8.5. So you just run your calculations for a circle of a radius of 8.5 for here, here, and here, and then you'd run it for a radius of, well, 7.5 for these three, and you'd make your circle vertically with a radius of 7.5, and then you decrease another one for this, so this will be a radius of 6.5, and then you decrease a radius of 3, so that would be, because this is 3 big, you'd make a radius of 3.5, and make whatever circle it tells you there, and then you would just fill this up with the rest of it. So that's how you would make a sphere in Minecraft. Well, as close to a sphere as you can get. Hope that wasn't too confusing. I know I rambled about the whole math thing, but like I said, it's almost midnight here. But even if you use a calculator, that's how to do it. Just make a couple circles and then just keep decreasing the size. Video games are not for math. There are people who would disagree with you. Have you ever played Pokemon? I mean, the metagame? You ever had to do all those EV calculations and IV calculations whenever you're trying to breed your Pokemon? Things like that? I'm actually a programmer, and Pokemon is what got me into programming. By studying how Missing No, the glitch Pokemon from the original games, worked. And then I look at it and I see people today, I see high schoolers today who are, you know, playing X and Y and Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. And they're all like, yeah, back a long time ago when Ruby and Sapphire came out, and I'm thinking, back a long time ago when I was a kid and Red and Blue came out, I have Pokemon in my possession that are older than some high schoolers that I work with. And that is not the right chest. It's also kind of scary. It makes you realize just how old you are. That's what my parents always said. You know, you think you're young now, but wait until you realize your Pokemon are older than students. That's not what they said, because they actually told me that Pokemon's a fad and it's going out of style and it'll never be made again. Haha, they were wrong. But you know what? I shall not gloat. Haha, they were wrong. Okay, I'm done gloating. I need to find my cobblestone chest, which is almost full. Deposit that stuff. I need to get just as much andesite and polished andesite and polished diorite and come on, there we go. I'm gonna put you there for right now, even though it doesn't make any sense for you to be there, just because. And I'm gonna put this torch there, because I am going to go get my ender chest. What is the oldest thing you are owning right now? The oldest thing I am owning right now? I'm assuming we're talking out of the context of Pokemon. What is the oldest thing I am owning right now? I have never thought about that. I have to run through a catalog of things that I own, or I have assumed responsibility over in the case of me not actually legally holding the title. I have stuff in here I need to clean out. Come on, there we go. What is the oldest thing I currently own? Well, off the top of my head, that's where my bucket went. Off the top of my head, assuming that I do not count as an old thing, like I own my own body, which I do, by the way. I am a slave to no man nor woman, for that matter. The oldest thing I own right now, besides myself, is probably gonna be my car, which was created when I was 9. Yep. That's what I'm going to say is my oldest thing. Let me go get some more stone materials. Jumping on down here. Actually, no, you know what? My Game Boy's older than that, I think. My entire life is video games. Brilliant. Wouldn't hurt to have some more andesite for this build. And some more diorite. Not enough information. How old are you? I am older than some and younger than most. That is as close information as you are going to get at this moment. I can tell you that my age is a real number, greater than 0. It is not imaginary. It is not complex. But I am complex. I need wood. I have wood. I need coal. 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, 63. And then this will make 64. There we go. What else do I need? I need a crafting table, because that'll be important. And do I have a bed? Do I need a bed? No, I am brave. I can brave the night. So, kitten person. Sorry, I forgot. It's night out. I don't like the night. Kitten person. I realize what I just said. You're not saying anything. You're just chilling out, watching the stream. Watching somebody try to creep for information from somebody who is putting himself out there on the interwebs. It's just Slain Light that's talking. Playful Kitty, thank you. I didn't want to interrupt my stream just yet again, just to scroll up in the chat. Just to see his and or her name. To be politically correct. So, I hope to someday have a whole bunch of Speed 2 beacons all throughout. Currently, I have it only servicing the tunnels to their extremities. All 4 of them, and that took a few beacons. That took quite a lot of iron, and we do not have a fully functioning iron farm. You know what? Since you guys are watching, let me show you what I intend to do with the build. By coming over here and showing you a build I did with a skeleton spawner, and now I want to do it with a zombie spawner because it provides a different kind of PvP environment. I need to eat! So, I still have not decorated this tunnel. But this little thing is just like a little small practice arena. you can use. What you do is you allow some skeletons to spawn. Whenever they do, they hit some tripwire, which turns lights back on, so that no more skeletons spawn. That way you have a controlled bunch. They get funneled up here, and you can either open the door to let them all through, or you can open the doors one at a time. And this just lets you have some practice fighting confused skeletons and getting used to doing like maneuvers and stuff. However, it's not really fully functional yet as 1.9 is not out, but once 1.9 does come out, this will give an opportunity for people on the server to practice their skills with shields and stuff. Where did you go, Mr. Skeleton? But since I have a... No, seriously, where did you go? There you are. I don't have any more, do I have? Yes, I do have them waiting. I'm just going to kill them all. I have OP equipment, so it's really easy for me to beat them, but the idea is that it wouldn't be so easy for an individual if they limited themselves to some stuff, like some basic equipment. But I'm going to build one for a zombie spawner, and per some suggestions I received from my server mates, I am going to make it so that the zombies keep on coming, and keep on coming, and keep on coming. And to that end, the rules of this build competition that our server master, and by that I mean Monkey Work, has laid out is that we are allowed to build vertically as far up and down as we want, but we are only allowed to build horizontally in a 15 by 15 area, which means I need to build the arena either on top or beneath the zombie spawner. And I think it's going to be easier for me to build it beneath, but it's going to be more difficult to navigate to. I mean, because this is like on the surface, and it wouldn't be as much fun. Although, you know what, if I built some sort of a glass looking area, that would be kind of cool. Or if I built stands up here and you could maybe watch the fight down below, now that would be cool too. I am getting ideas. So do I want to funnel them? What's up with the weird mouse moving around on the bottom black part? It's not my mouse. Hold on. I didn't see that. Huh. I didn't see that. Let me try something real quick. Let me see if that does anything. I'll give it just a moment. Has that been doing that the entire time? My window's pretty much blocking the view. Of the video, so I can just see the YouTube chat. Nope, that's still doing it. I think I have an idea what's doing that. But don't funnel them because they come out. The player can swamp camp them. Well, if you're using this for a challenge. So you'd wait till they all pour out. Like there's some gentleman's rule. Let me do something real quick. I hope this is not going to break the stream. If so, I hope you'll rejoin me. But I am going to try to resize this. And let me just see if that breaks the stream. Okay, I think that might have worked. Yeah, I can see that. That's good. So I could explain what's going on with that. I think I understand what was going with that. So what was happening? The reason I'm not going to have them drop from above is because they're going to take fall damage. Just like with the skeleton spawner, I'm going to have obstacles, and it's going to be like a room with heights and stuff. And that because of that, there's not going to be any one place where they can fall, where they're going to fall 2 blocks or less. So there's going to be some parts where the zombies will take fall damage, and then that would put the zombies at a bit of a disadvantage. So what just happened with what you just saw? That I apologize for, by the way. This is dirt. So I am currently recording this on a monitor that is 1080 pixels tall. I intended for this to be a stream that was 1080 pixels tall. Unfortunately, my window decorator, the thing that gives you your title bar on top of the windows, is present and eats up a few pixels. My guess is about 15 pixels or so. And so I'm not able to move my window up any higher beyond a certain point, which means part of it stuck beneath the screen. And I think that was causing a problem. So I just resized my window so it's not quite 1080 tall, and that seems to have gotten rid of the problem. But I kept it as tall as I could get it. Okay, so I am going to have the arena type thing on top, but I am going to have to make sure the player is always... Hello, chest. You are going to be handy for me to put stuff in, actually. I have to make sure the player is, at all times, or most of the time, within range to activate the spawner. Which means it can't be too high, no matter what I do. Okie dokie. Come on, this way. And this way. So this part's just grindy work. Who wants to hear a story? I'll wait for the stream to catch up so you can actually respond to that. It's a fake story. Well, I mean, I suppose it could be real, but there's no reason to believe it is real. Who wants story time with Altainia? Wow, we're just digging this out. You do? Okay. Ooh, we have a third person watching. I don't know exactly when you joined third person, but we're about to have story time, so get your Pop-Tarts, if that's what you watch during movies. Or salad. Okay, so once upon a time, there were 2 farmers, both named Pete. One of them was physically bigger than the other. He was stronger. I think it's you from that other window. No, I didn't open another window in order to view the YouTube thing, how it was going. Whenever you do a live stream, it actually shows you on the same thing that I see my chat on. So technically there's a current stream I can watch of myself doing things. That's always there. I didn't open any new window at all. I
actually looked at it because I was able to move another window around that allowed me to see it, but that window's been up the entire time. It does not count your own personal views as that. Okay, so two farmers named Pete. One was bigger than the other, one was stronger than the other, and he owned more land, he owned more cattle, more everything. So he was called Big Pete, and the other one was understandably called Little Pete. Big Pete and Little Pete owned farms right next door to each other, and Big Pete's farm was bigger. Little Pete's farm was littler, and Little Pete was the poorer of the two, money-wise. He owned only but one cow, whereas Big Pete owned several cows, and chickens, and pigs, and just about any kind of livestock. I just fell down one step that you would imagine a farmer may have, a wealthy farmer may have, and he owned so much crops, and he owned a really big pasture for his cows to feed upon, to graze upon. Well, let me collect all this stuff. Little Pete had a single solitary fence. I joined at a good time. I love stories. Ah, yes, okay, so the kitty person must have left. So, welcome. Little Pete had only a single solitary fence, and he only had a single solitary cow, and that cow was very, very scrawny. And, and Little Pete's cow had a habit, occasionally, of jumping the fence to go to Big Pete's yard, because Big Pete, like I mentioned, had lush grass. Little Pete didn't, and Little Pete's cow was hungry. And Big Pete was annoyed by that. What's your cow doing on my property? And one day, after this had been happening for a while, he said, you know what? Enough is enough. He took the cow, as he usually did, back to Little Pete's farm, and this time he told Little Pete, you know, if your cow comes over on my property again, I'm gonna shoot it. And Little Pete said, no, don't worry, my cow won't jump the fence. Now, it should be worth noting here that Big Pete did have the money and the opportunity to actually build a good fence on his side of the property, but he didn't, and he was relying on poor Little Pete to build a fence, and the best Little Pete could do was not a very good fence, and his cow was able to jump over it. It was his only cow, his only livestock. So, a couple days passed, and Little Pete's cow jumped the fence again. True to his word, probably about the only redeeming quality Big Pete had, Big Pete shot the cow and came over to Little Pete's place and said, you know how I told you that I would shoot your cow if she came over to my property again? Well, here she is, and dropped off the body. And Little Pete was understandably saddened about that. His grandma asked what he was going to do about it. His grandma lived with him. And he said, I don't know. But he figured, you know, the cow was their only source of income, the only dairy producer they had. He had to get some money from the cow somehow, so he took the cow hide into town. And he put it in a bag. And he was wandering around, trying to look for somebody who might be willing to buy a cowhide, and he was kind of scoping out the place. Now, it should be noted that Little Pete, though he was skinny, though he was scrawny, though he didn't own much land, he was clever. As is the case often in these stories, the big one is usually the not-so-clever one, the small one is usually the wittier one. Usually because they don't really have any other option, so they get good at it. So Little Pete was also good at reading people, and he was just looking for the perfect opportunity, and he saw one, but not quite the opportunity you would expect. He stumbled upon a house in the village that was somewhat of a well-to-do house, and in there he saw a man and a woman. Hello, I cannot hear you or the game. Slane Light can hear me or the game, and Colby Gammon can hear me in the game, so I think it might be something on your end. You might want to check either your speakers or your audio settings as it relates directly to your web browser of choice, and make sure that audio is allowed to come through it. If you can hear another YouTube video, then I do not know what's going on. You might also check the YouTube video itself and make sure that's not muted. I do not know why I'm telling you this, because you can't hear me. Wow, I feel smart. Let me type to you in the chat. Okay, so Little Pete spotted this house, and he saw a woman in the house, and he saw a man in the house. And this woman and this man were having quite the lovely meal. There was a cake, there was a nicely prepared turkey, there was a most delicious looking rich soup. And as Little Pete was watching this through the window, he spotted another man coming down the road who appeared to be heading directly for this house. Well, Little Pete guessed what was going on. It wasn't too hard to figure out. That other man lived in the house, which meant the first man who was there wasn't supposed to be there. The woman looked out the window opposite of Little Pete, such that she saw the man coming down the street as well, but Little Pete remained yet to be spotted. In a hurry, she hid the cake, she hid the turkey, she hid the well-to-do soup, and she hid the man in the cellar. Apparently there wasn't enough time for him to leave unseen, and all these connections were located inside the house itself. So the man goes in the front door, and Little Pete's around the back. So the man goes in the front door, and his wife gets out of the oven a somewhat pathetic looking soup. Little Pete knocks on the door. He asks if he can come in. He says he's very hungry. He just wants something to eat. And the man says, we don't have much ourselves. We've laid out hard times, but we'd be happy to share what we have. Have a beacon, get 9 iron blocks, and get haste 1 to mine faster. I do have a beacon, but this is story time. Story time takes time. And besides that, as you can see, I'm kind of almost done with this. So Little Pete knocks on the door. He gets in. The man lets him, and the man offers him whatever little food they have, but mentions that they are running on hard times. They're not exactly as rich as their house may make them look. He tells his wife to make Little Pete a meal. She does that. Little Pete takes the bag of cowhide and puts it underneath the table. And partway through the meal, he kicks the bag, and he says, "Shut up!" The man says, "I'm sorry, what'd you say?" Little Pete says, "Oh, nothing. I was talking to the end of the bed. Sorry, what'd you say?" It's embarrassing. I have a fortune teller in my bag, and this fortune teller just rambles on and on and on, and it's so annoying. But never mind about that. And the man says, that's interesting. You have a fortune teller in your bag." And after a brief pause said, "So what did the fortune teller say?" And Little Pete said, No, it's nothing. It's ridiculous. It couldn't be." "Well, no, please tell me," the man said. Little Pete responded, "The fortune teller said you have a very, very fine soup in the cupboard near the bottom. Where those drawers are." He pointed to some cupboards down there. And the man said, "Oh, yeah, that is ridiculous. We definitely have nothing like that." Still, he was curious, and so he told his wife to open the cupboard that Little Pete had pointed to. Sure enough, there was a soup hidden in there, much better than the one they were eating. "Oh, this is fantastic," the man said. As they were eating the soup, Little Pete kicked the bag again. "Shut up!" Well, what'd the fortune teller say this time? The soup was one thing, but there's just no way this can be true. I wouldn't worry too much about it. I dug one too far. I'm going to put an andesite back there. I wouldn't worry too much about it. I said, no, please tell me. And Lippy said, he said that there's a turkey in that cupboard. And he pointed to another one. Okay, the man said. That's a little bit specific. Still, he ordered his wife to go check it out, and she opened the cupboard, and sure enough, there was a turkey. Well, that is amazing, the man said. They were eating a little bit longer, and Little Pete kicked the bag again. Shut up! What did the fortune teller say this time? He said you have a cake. And he pointed to a third cupboard. The wife went and opened it. She knew her husband was going to have her do that, and sure enough, there was a cake there. And now they were living at large, just eating like kings. And then Little Pete kicks it back again. Shut up! What did the fortune teller say this time? This one I probably shouldn't mention. I mean, this isn't anything necessarily good. And I wouldn't want to spoil this meal. Oh, no, tell me, the man said. Tell me. Little Pete said, well, my fortune teller is saying that if you were to go to your cellar and open it up, you would find in there a man. The man of the house, the one that Little Pete had been dealing with, he himself went to go check this out. He went to that cellar door, he opened it, and sure enough, out came the first man that Little Pete had seen in the house. And boy, did he come out of that cellar. He ran out of that cellar. He ran out of that cellar before the man of the house even realized what was afoot. After trying to give chase a little bit, the man of the house came back and told Little Pete, that is one amazing fortune teller you have there. I wouldn't mind buying that off of you. We don't have much, but I'm sure I can turn our profits around with this. And Little Pete said, no, he's not for sale. He's not for sale. How much are you asking for? So later that evening, Little Pete is heading on back to his place. He's made a previous arrangement with this man for the fortune teller, but he doesn't have a container big enough to hold the money that he's been offered. So he stops by Big Pete's place and he asks for a basket. Well, that's an odd request, Big Pete thinks. What would he need a basket for? So, being curious, he gives him a basket, but puts a little bit of glue in it. Little Pete thanks him, takes the basket, and comes back later and gives the basket back, and there's a little bit of money in it. And Big Pete thinks to himself, well, where did Little Pete come up with this money? Sounds like on my end, though, you're just now telling me the cow got shot. Yeah, that is quite a long time ago. Okay, so that's quite a lot of lag. So Big Pete confronts Little Pete, and he said, Little Pete, where did you get this gold? And Little Pete said, oh, you know how you killed my cow? Yeah, well, I sold its hide down. Big Pete got a gleam in his eye when he realized how much money he might possibly make based upon how much he found in the basket left over that Little Pete gave him back. As soon as the next day arose, Big Pete grabbed his wife by the arm and said, all right, dear, we're going out there, we're killing every single cow, and we're selling all their hides to town. His wife looked at him with one of those looks, but did as her husband asked, and she and her husband spent that day killing and skinning all their cows. When they were done, Big Pete took all those hides into town. and said at the top of his voice, "Who wants to buy dead cows?" A tanner offered to buy them off of him, but when Big Pete named his price, which he named in response to how much Little Pete made off of, apparently, his cow, that tanner laughed. And he laughed, and he laughed. That price was just so ridiculous. Well, Big Pete got furious. He realized Little Pete had played him, and he swore to get revenge. So that night, he got himself a dagger, and he waited till it got real dark, and he headed on to Little Pete's place. It just so happened that Little Pete caught a bit of a cold. He wasn't feeling too well. And his grandmother noticed that. Now, his grandmother, being one of the elderly, had necessarily gotten a better bed than Little Pete had. He didn't have enough money for a good bed all the way around, but just enough to get her a nice straw bed and him a mat. But since he wasn't feeling all too well, she said to him, "Dear, you sleep on my bed tonight. It's a softer one. You need it to feel refreshed. Please get a shovel. It's so annoying that your fist breaking it." You know what? Fine. I'll go get a shovel. Let me put the stuff away and go get a shovel, and also go get a silk touch pick, because I forgot to get that actually. So that's the wrong way. So per his grandmother's request, not his grandmother's insistence, Little Pete slept in her bed that night, and she slept in his. Well, you can probably imagine what happened next. That night, Big Pete snuck into Little Pete's house. He knew where Little Pete slept. He'd been over there before, mocking him on occasion. He'd seen the inside of the house. But it was dark out, and all he knew is there was somebody sleeping in Little Pete's bed, and he figured it was Little Pete, so he took his dagger and stabbed. And he ran. He wanted to get out of there as soon as possible. Now, the next day, Little Pete woke up, feeling much better. He went to go wake up his grandma when he saw the sight. He realized what must have happened, and he was furious and incredibly sad. But he knew there was nothing he could do. Big Pete was bigger. So he decided to get a little bit of revenge. He took his grandma, the corpse of his grandma anyway, loaded her onto the one wagon he had with the one horse he had, and rode her into town. He dressed her up in her Sunday clothes. And as they were walking through the town, an older gentleman came up, tipped his hat, said, "How do you do, ma'am?" Of course, she didn't respond. This shovel's going to have to do. Here's my silk touch. Well, of course she didn't respond. But he didn't realize why. "I say, how do you do, ma'am? It's night out." "How do you do, ma'am?" Still nothing. I'm going to adjust to my chair. That's the sound you hear. So then he took his cane and he gave her a little bit of a poke. "I say, ma'am, how do you..." And she fell over. And Little Pete looked at her and looked at him and said, "Sir, you just killed my grandma." What? No, I didn't mean it. You just killed my grandma." "I am reporting you." No, please, I did not mean to do that," the gentleman said. Please, can I give you something? Something to hopefully show my apologies. I had no intention of doing that. I did not realize she was not feeling well. Little Pete got quite a lot of money from that. And so he marched over to Big Pete's place, and he asked to borrow a basket. Now, at first, Big Pete was incredibly surprised that Little Pete was alive, but knowing that he got the wrong person, he didn't want to implicate himself, so he didn't mention anything like, "You're not dead." He just gave Little Pete that basket, and again put a little bit of glue. Now, he thought he was being clever, but Little Pete knew that some money would stick back, and Big Pete would figure out what happened. Sure enough, when he gave the basket back, there was even more money in there than it started off with. Or not started off with, than it had been the first time around. And after Big Pete got that basket back, he confronted Little Pete and he said, "Okay, now how did you get that money?" And Little Pete said, "Well, last night, somebody broke into my home. And they killed my grandmother. So, I took her to town, and I sold her." "No, you didn't," Big Pete said. "Yes, I did. There is a man of medicine who is studying human anatomy, and he's taking the corpses of individuals for a large sum of money." "You don't say," Big Pete said. Just as soon as Little Pete left, Big Pete went to his wife and he said, "Hun, we gotta off your mother, and mine." I know it was nasty, but that's what they did. Now, of course, Big Pete's wife objected to that, but Big Pete ruled the roost. And so that's what ended up happening. The next day, Big Pete took both his grandmother's corpses straight into town, yelled out at the top of his lungs, "Who wants to buy 2 dead grandmothers?" Now, at that point, the townspeople ran him out. They weren't laughing at him anymore for ridiculous prices. They were chasing him down because they now saw him as a kind of murderer, a sicko. And oh, Big Pete was furious, and he decided he is going to make sure Little Pete pays. He is going to take Little Pete in the daytime, so he knows for certain he's got the right person. He goes and does that. He takes Little Pete, kidnaps him, puts him in a bag, and drags the bag off to a river. He ties the bag up so well that Little Pete can't get out of it. And he then leaves the bag alone to go look for a large rock to affix to the bag so that the bag will not float. Well, as he's gone, Little Pete starts yelling out at the top of his lungs, "Who wants to go to heaven? I don't. Who wants to go to heaven? I don't." Soon enough, Little Pete hears a response. An older gentleman is walking by. "Hi, Piggy and Survival Piggies. You jumped in the middle of a story. I apologize if this does not make sense." So, this gentleman walking by happens to hear Little Pete's cries and says, "Well, young man, I want to go to heaven." Little Pete says, "Great. Well, it's really easy. There's only one thing you have to do." "And what's that, good sir?" "Untie this bag and get in this bag yourself." "Oh," the gentleman says. "Well, I don't suppose that would be that hard." So he does that. He unties the bag, and Little Pete steps out. This gentleman steps in. And before the gentleman goes all the way in the bag, he says, "I suppose if I'm going to heaven, I won't need any of my cattle. Or I won't need my land, for that matter." You, sir, you can have it. You can have all my property. I won't be needing it where I'm going. And Little Pete says, well, thank you. He gets the information from the man, where it is exactly. And the man steps in the bag all the way. And Little Pete ties the bag up just as Big Pete had tied it around him and leaves. Now Big Pete finally comes back with the stone he believes large enough and heavy enough to hold the bag at the bottom of a nearby river, drags the bag the rest of the way to the river, and throws it in with the stone attached, and the bag sinks all the way to the bottom. As Big Pete's heading back, he's on his way back to his place, and he sees Little Pete walking, leading this huge herd of cattle with a shepherd dog to assist, straight back to his own place. And he's connected it to a nearby plot of land that neither of them owned. Apparently, this other man did own. And Big Pete just takes one look at that and says, how did you escape? And where, more importantly, where did you get all this cattle from? And Little Pete said, oh, well, the river you threw me into. It turns out, at the bottom of it, there are a whole herd of cows and chickens and even horses and all sorts of livestock just grazing at the bottom of the river. When you threw me down there, I had to sink all the way to the bottom in order to find it, but once I hit the bottom, I got myself out of that bag. And I took that cattle, and I marched them right back up here. And Big Pete's eyes gleamed real bright as he saw the opportunity in this, and he ran back to his place, and he told his wife, tie me in a bag and tie a rock to it and throw it in the river. And his wife was all too happy to oblige. In the end, Little Pete ended up marrying Big Pete's widow, owning not only his small property he had at the beginning, but also the gentleman's property, and Big Pete's now. And that is the story of Big Pete and Little Pete, as was told to me by my grandmother. These events are purely fictitious. They do not represent in any way any real characters. If these events actually did happen in full or in part, that is purely coincidence. No relation to real individuals or events was intended. Please tell me what you thought of the story. This is the first time I've ever told a story while concentrating on another task besides cooking s'mores. Yes, it is a bloody story, and it was told to me when I was really little, multiple times. It was one of my more favorites that I wanted my grandma to tell me. But it's not really about the blood. I mean, sure, violence does occur, but as a younger kid listening to it, I didn't really think of the violence. I thought of the characters, how they acted, who the good guy was, who the bad guy was, why they were the good guy, why they were the bad guy, why one was doing things I liked, why one was doing things I didn't, who I was rooting for. And it was a story about character and choices, and it was a story about the underdog winning, and it didn't really have anything to do with the violence. Even though I recognize intellectually it does involve blood and gore in a way, it's not really something that I would characterize as being a bloody story based on the way it was ever told to me. I never remember it being that way, and I don't even remember it being that way now. I just told you the story, and I still don't think it's that way. It is, but it isn't. I suppose that's how a lot of stories are, though. I mean, any story about a knight slaying a dragon is animal abuse right there. But we tell it to each other anyway. We tell the dragon slaying story. And I wonder what that says about people who are afraid to tell gory stories. Just joined, catch me up. On the story I was just telling, what is the first thing you heard? Not like the first word, but the first concept that you grasped from the story. And I'll do a really, really quick summary, because it's a bit of a long story. Yes, well, we do not have a mob farm. So coming across the gunpowder is a little bit difficult. I'm going to have to go back to my base in order to fix this pickup because it's getting kind of low anyway. So yeah, maybe I'll do that. Whenever I go there, I'll make as much TNT as I can, and then I will blow some of it up. The thing is, I don't want to, though. No, I don't want to because I am trying to preserve the spawner that's underneath here. And I do not want to break it by accident. That would be really, really sad. Because this is like the second zombie spawner on the server that we found. We've had lots of skeleton spawners and lots of spider spawners, but I need a zombie spawner for this project of mine. I don't want to risk blowing it up, so now what I'll probably do is go repair this pick. Where's my exit? There's my exit. And go get an actual beacon now that I am done telling the story. I don't have to take my time anymore. So actually, Kendra Valancourt, the story is called Big Pete, Little Pete. You can Google it. It is available on Google. There are different versions of the same story. Yeah, I have a few episodes of a Let's Play, and some other members have their own YouTube channels. Diesel Designs is a member on the server. He has the most subscribers, so he is the most professional video YouTuber or video gamer. Video gamer. It's a video gamer, isn't it? Really, huh? On here, and there are some other people that are on the server as well. If you go to crafttheory.net, you know what, I'm going to see if in the spawn bank if there's any gunpowder I can use there. But if you go to crafttheory.net, that actually has a list of us and links to our YouTube channels for those of us that do YouTube. Not all of us do YouTube, but you can check that out if you want. Let's see, gunpowder. There's blaze powder. Here's gunpowder. No gunpowder. Okay, no gunpowder in the community chests. That's an auto sorter, so it's not like somebody would have accidentally put it somewhere else. It could be an overflow and nobody picked it up. Nope. So yeah, I have a Let's Play. I have actually 3 games I'm Let's Playing right now. Minecraft is one of them. Okay, to my base. Oh yeah, that's right. I'm not going to use TNT because of that thing. That's right. Okie dokie. So you should do trolling videos on your friends. Who says I haven't? They just haven't discovered it yet, and I don't want to post the video until they have discovered it. My kind of pranks are very, very subtle, and not very big. Yeah, I'm not the kind of person to do trolling videos where like I mess things up, and really that would get me kicked from the server. We're a small group. You know, we always hang out and mumble and everything. But, there are pranks. My base was actually filled with chickens and an automatic chicken thing. So, in my opinion, what makes a good prank is something that is not destructive, and in which the person who got pranked actually gets something out of it. I want to put some of this stuff away. I'll sort my chest down here later. But in my opinion, yeah, that's what a good prank is. A prank that is not destructive and that the other person gets something out of whenever they clean it up. Good examples are what the Minecraft community has done for their pranks and what the Hermitcraft server does for their pranks. It ultimately gives you something. A real-life prank example is... where do I put it? This is almost full up of... This is full up of cobblestone. You're going to go here, then. I think you're looking at it wrong. It's not that people don't want violence in media, it's that there is so much violence in media. The real question is, what does that say about us as a society? Is this a cheat world or no? Mr. Even Mario have violence as its main mechanic. Yes, stomping on Goombas. But the idea is, in the story that I was telling, there is the stabbing of an individual, which ends up being a grandma. There's the intentional murder of two other grandmas. And then there's a guy intentionally tricking another person into his own death to convince somebody else to kill himself. It's kind of different than Mario stomping on Goombas and the Goombas poofing into non-existence. The case with Mario is there is violence if you think about it intellectually, but there is no violence if you look at it. But you don't even have to think about the story to realize there is in fact violence in there. What else do I need? But yeah, it's not that people don't want violence in media, it's that there is so much violence in media. What does that say about us as a society? Okay, that is a good question, what it says about us as a society, but that doesn't necessarily mean that people don't not want violence in media. Hi, Colin Kasparek. I do think, to an extent, people want conflict. I can say that much for certain. People want conflict. I mean, you go through English class and you learn any kind of storytelling, you know that that's exactly what happens. There is always a conflict. Pokemon even, which sounds like, well, duh, it's about fighting monsters, but why is it about fighting, you know? Violence is fine, but why so much? Cheat world or nah? No cheat world. Why do you have that random patch of grass underground? Because I was intending to actually make this more grass area. You guys are asking too many questions too fast, I can't answer all of them. That's fine. I was intending to spread that, and I probably will at some point, but it was just like a partial project that's in the works, except now I don't know what to do with all that space down there. I cleared it out because I went as far as my beacon could go. That's what I was going to get, my beacon. Because I don't have another beacon. And I could go farm it at the wither thing. You're probably lagging behind a lot, and this isn't being discussed anymore. No. You know what? I'm fine discussing that. I'm reading your comments as you post them, so goodbye, haste. I mean speed. 360? What does 360 have to do with it? With anything, actually. So yeah, the grass is there as part of a project that I may continue at some point. Pokemon violence, I love Pokemon, so I don't know if you knew that or not. But yeah, they always excuse it as being like a sport, which does make some sense. Pokemon don't die in the playthrough of the game, just in the story of the game. With Team Rocket and Marowak, and that was a sad thing. I hid some gold pieces down there, some gold blocks. But yeah. Xbox 360. I'm assuming you're asking if I have an Xbox 360. I do not have an Xbox 360. I have a Wii, and I do not have a TV to hook it up to. It does not hook up to my computer. Talk about 1.9 and if you like it or not. Are you talking about the combat mechanics? To quote a very wise monkey in Lion King, change is good. Change is not necessarily good. How long did it take you to build this? I did not time it, I forget. I am bad with that. But I do like the fact that things are being shaken up. You know, that we got different options now. I kind of like the whole player collision thing. I never got to experience that because I didn't play Minecraft that early on. But as a concept, it sounds pretty good. I do completely understand the whole wanting to avoid people. Do gold blocks mine faster than iron blocks? Yes, they do. I completely understand the not wanting to have people spam click, especially since that may cause some servers lag that are not able to keep up with frequent connections, like frequent data. Do have to be online to update Minecraft. You have to be online at some point to get a Minecraft version that you do not have, as Minecraft versions are stored on the web. It is technically possible to take a version of Minecraft that you have downloaded from online some point before and use it for the first time offline, it is possible to take the downloaded file and modify your own files such that you do not use the Minecraft launcher to upgrade it, but you still do. But at some point, you at least have to have gotten the Minecraft version from a source online, unless it has been downloaded and distributed to you, but it came from online at some point. Short answer is yes. Long answer is technically yes, but it depends upon where you got it from. It originally came from online, which originally came from Mojang, etc. I need diamonds because I need to repair my diamond pick. How do you buy? Well, I think you go to Minecraft's website, like Minecraft.com probably. I would Google it just to make sure. What do I need? I'm trying to multitask and I cannot think. I have efficiency 5 and breaking 3, so I don't need to combine it with any other picks because it won't do any good. Anyway, do I have any sticks? I have sticks. Let me make myself a pick. That was one stick too many. And it's a one-time purchase, so once you buy the game, all the updates are free. It's a really great deal. Efficiency 5 and breaking 3 costs 17 levels. How much does it cost if I reverse it? 26 levels. I still have no idea why that does that, because the end result is not any different. How did you build all this? Magic! That's my answer to everything. That's a short answer anyway. Okay, so I need to go get some levels. Minecraft.net. Okay, I knew it was one of those two, but I'd hate to give out the wrong address and have that be a phishing site. I would still Google it just to double check, in case Kendra Valancourt is a fisher. Not saying you are, but just in case. Never know. You're not just in case either. Mr. Case is somebody else. He's a friend of mine. Okay, so... Oh man, this is so much slower without my speed. That came out wrong. Luckily, I have speed beacons over here. I guess I could have torn down one of them, but I don't know. Cool. No, I just spent time. Go to the Nether and mine quartz for lots of XP plus well quartz. I just got the game. I am not going to go to the Nether and mine quartz because we have an end portal somewhere. I passed it. It's actually right near my base. Doggy the Gamer. Hey! That must be very difficult to play with your paws. Where is the end portal? The end portal's on red. I am sprinting, actually. And with speed 2. Ah, here it is. That's right. Speed 2 with sprint lets you go really fast. Do. I shall go to the end. Ah, whoops. No, I only have to do that on the return trip. That's right. Riding minecarts. I'm going to mute myself and take care of my nose real quick. Just a moment. Doggy the Gamer. This is a private server, whitelisted. Okay, so I need a what, 17? So you would not be able to play with me. The server is mainly for people who want to play with other people, but a small select group of people, and I don't know how well you can hear me over these Endermen. So that gets me that. Good. It's very late. How much longer will the stream go on? Well, I can sleep in tomorrow, so this stream goes on for however long until I get so tired I can't stay awake. So I don't know however long that is. You know what? For whatever reason, the audio for the minecart cuts out on the return trip. It has something to do with the Enderman, I imagine. Are you getting tired, Slain Light? Do you want the actual light of day and stuff? Whee. Nah, hold on. What time is it? For me, it's just about 1 a.m. Yeah. Goodbye, Kendra Valancourt. You know what? This stream has been going on for an hour and 40 minutes. Why don't I go ahead and call it quits here, too? And since I'm like already here, I'll just finish this off. I may do this just off camera as well. And stuff. By the way, this is my house. I'm still not done building it. I have Pokeball there. I have a Minecraft grass block there. So yeah, I'll probably go ahead and call this quits. I like the new YouTube gaming because it's light and because the light is slain, plus it's 2 a.m. Yeah, it is kind of light. Oh, because the light is slain. Oh, because they have like a dark theme. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to go ahead and call it quits because it looks like a couple of you may be getting tired. It's a little bit late, and I do need to get up at some point tomorrow. Doggy the Gamer, the IP is private. Anyway. Watching.